Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. Please visit our website, cscatlanta.org, for a complete list of live and recorded events. If this is your first time participating, we invite you to complete a new attendee form to stay connected to all future programs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this Introduction to Mindfulness class. This is Emily Brown, the Program Director at Cancer Support Community, and Rebecca is currently teaching 2 classes for us, and she's been teaching yoga for how many years with us, Rebecca?
With you, 3 or 4.
3 to 4, yeah. Teaching at the Decatur studio, but also started teaching virtual classes last year when everybody switched over during the pandemic. So we're so grateful for Rebecca for continuing to do her yoga class, and now she's teaching meditation on Fridays and gentle yoga on Tuesdays. But also we're grateful that she's able to do this program for us today on mindfulness as well, because it has been a hot topic. So without further ado, Rebecca, I'll let you go ahead and get started.
Thank you so much, Emily. And I'm so happy to see some familiar faces and some brand new faces. As Emily said, I'm Rebecca Leary. I am a certified yoga therapist. I've studied Yoga4Cancer, Y4C, which is the leading oncology-based yoga program. And I've studied yoga for seniors at Duke Integrative Medicine. I teach yoga and meditation for Cancer Support Community and in other venues, mostly on Zoom at the moment, but soon to be in person somewhere, I hope. So this session is on mindfulness. What is it? Why is it important? And how can I make it part of my daily life? So let's start with a brief practice. Take a moment to sit up tall in your seat, feeling your feet against the ground. Take a moment to notice the patterns and textures that you see in front of you, maybe on the screen or maybe in your space. And then feel free to blink your eyes closed or take a soft gaze. And then begin to notice what you hear in your space beyond the sound of my voice. Can you discern sounds that are close by and sounds that are further away? And then notice the textures underneath your feet, your seat, your fingertips. I feel the smooth wood of my desk, the cushy seat beneath me, and the hardwood floor beneath my feet. Let's take one breath in together. Let it go. And then blink your eyes open and come back into the room. So that was just a short grounding practice where we used awareness of physical sensation, like our feet on the floor, to stay in the present moment. If you can feel your feet, then you can't be anywhere but right here. So what is mindfulness? It's defined as, by Merriam-Webster, the practice of maintaining a non-judgmental state of heightened or complete awareness of one's thoughts, emotions, or experiences on a moment-to-moment basis. A somewhat more simplified definition that I like is, mindfulness is the basic ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive to what's going on around us. But my favorite definition is, mindfulness is being present without judgment and with great compassion. So let's think about the many ways that we are already being mindful throughout our days. If you care to, go ahead and write in the chat any of the ways that you are currently practicing mindfulness, formally or informally. I'll give you a moment if you'd like to share. And in past sessions, some of the things that people have said are a meditation practice. Maybe they have a formal meditation practice. Doing yoga or other exercise can be very mindful. For some people, it's prayer or singing, dancing, cooking, eating, even washing dishes. One of my teachers from Duke Integrative Medicine did a video on mindful hand washing for COVID-19 prevention. So let's take a moment and we'll do a little guided imagery meditation on hand washing. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, or take a soft gaze. And imagine that you're standing in front of your sink. Feel the floor beneath you. Maybe you're resting your elbows on the edge of the sink. Reach forward and turn on the faucet. Get a good mix of warm and cool so the water's not too hot. And then hear the sound of the water as it splashes into your sink. Feel the steam of the warmth coming up towards you. And then reach forward and put your hands into the flow, feeling the water run over your fingers. Maybe it's warm and that's soothing. And then reach out and grab either your bar of soap or your hand soap, whatever you like to use, and begin to lather in your mind's eye, feeling the slipperiness, that good lather feeling between your fingertips. Get a good lather going. Remember all of our instructions on how to scrub between our fingers, our fingernails. We're supposed to be singing a song, right? All of those things, imagining that sensation. And then plunge your hands into the water once again and feel that sensation of the runoff of the water, the soap moving away, and that feeling of clean. Shut off the water, grab your towel, and then dry your hands, feeling that nice scratchy feeling of the terry cloth, and get in between your fingers, nice and dry. Hang your towel back up, and then blink your eyes open and join me back in the room. So that's an example of guided imagery, which is another mindfulness technique. But we can do that for ourselves when we're standing at the sink, when we're doing our daily activities, just by noticing that we are where we are and we're doing what we're doing. That is mindfulness. So why is it important for cancer survivors and for their loved ones, for healthcare workers and caregivers? Studies suggest that yoga and mindfulness can help adult cancer patients and survivors manage symptoms and side effects to lead longer, healthier lives. The primary benefit of mindfulness is to reduce toxicity and stress and add to a better quality of life, fundamental in each stage of the journey. A study from Duke Integrative Medicine shows that meditation and mindfulness improve day-to-day pain in women with MBC. Wellness author Sarah Lindberg sums it up. By helping to regulate emotions and allowing a patient to work with the physical pain in the body, mindfulness has helped bring a sense of peace to many people living with cancer. Mindfulness allows us to participate in our own lives, being fully present with exactly what is happening right in this moment, without judgment, and with great compassion for ourselves and our situation. So how do you practice mindfulness? We've already noted many ways of being mindful. I have noticed no one has written in the chat, so if you would like to take a moment to do that, please feel free. We'd love this to be interactive, but no pressure.
I had a few come directly to me.
Oh, okay.
And I've turned that off, so
those?
they should be able to chat with each other now.
Oh, great. Okay, I see gardening. Yes, that is definitely a mindfulness practice. A lot of people enjoy that. I'm supposed to enjoy gardening because I'm a Taurus, but I have never quite gotten into it, although I do have some orchids. So, exercise, prayer, gardening, paying attention to the things you love. If mindfulness is the practice, meditation is the primary tool. Meditation is a practice of mindfulness that allows us to use our focus to relax the body, to slow the breath, stop the stress response, or tone it down maybe, and find some peace. Meditation and mindfulness are all aspects of yoga. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, an ancient text, explains that we have an underlying state of health and happiness that is unchanging despite our circumstances. Mindfulness allows us to peel back the layers, to recognize our innate wholeness of indestructible well-being, and thereby ease our suffering. There are many different ways to meditate. Mantra meditation, insight meditation, guided imagery, focused breathing, walking meditation. So, who among us has a meditation practice? Anybody? Raise your hand or write in the chat. Does anybody here have what they would call a meditation practice? So when most people hear the words meditation or meditate, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Clear your mind. Yeah, I see some things coming into the chat. Staying with the present situation, pre-cancer yoga. Okay, so when you hear meditate, people say clear your mind. And people say, wait, I'm really bad at this. I can't meditate. My mind is running a mile a minute. In my tradition, based on Buddhist vipassana or insight meditation, the instruction is different. We're instructed to sit or lie down comfortably and find an anchor or a point of focus. So we've already practiced a sensation meditation and a guided imagery meditation. Breath focus, repeated movement, a repeated word or phrase, gazing at a candle. These are all focus meditations. We gently and lovingly focus our attention on this anchor, whatever we choose. And as the mind wanders, which it will do because the mind thinks, we notice that. And it's in the noticing, without judgment, with compassion, that we can return our focus back to the anchor again and again, returning our focus. It's in the noticing and the returning that gives meditation its power. And then we can begin to greet whatever arises. So I see in the chat that one person says she has a very feeble meditation practice. I think that's probably not true. I think any meditation practice is strong and steady. And then someone says it's okay to have a wandering mind or a wondering mind during meditation as long as you're aware of it. Exactly. It's that ability to stop and notice. I'm thinking. Who does that noticing? Right? Who is the self that notices that you're thinking or feeling something? The ability to point it out to yourself and come back to a focus. Now, a lot of times we use breath meditation, a breath focus, but for some people that's really uncomfortable. And they've tried to meditate and given it up because I've had friends say, oh, as soon as I think about my breath, I can't breathe. And it takes practice. Maybe at some point in the future that will work better for you, but you don't have to do it that way. You can find a different focus. So let's try another practice. We're going to use hand movements as our anchor. So in a moment, I'll lead us in, but have your hands out in front of you. You can rest them on your chair or on your lap. And as we inhale, we'll open our fingers wide like a flower blossoming. And as we exhale, we'll bring our fingertips together. And we'll just keep repeating that gently, opening on the inhale and closing on the exhale. Okay, so rest your hands, be comfortable. Take a moment to feel your feet on the ground. Feel your seat in your chair. Allow your eyes to close if you like, or take a soft gaze. And begin to notice the feeling of the breath moving through your body. As you inhale, you sit up a little bit taller. As you exhale, you sit down a little stronger, a little more grounded. Inhaling, reaching up towards the sky. Exhaling, reaching down, being planted in the ground. Allow your palms to be soft and open. As you inhale, spread your fingers wide. As you exhale, slowly close fingertips together. Inhaling and opening. Exhaling and closing. Stay with this practice. Move at your own breath speed. Stay with it. Be curious. Five more breaths. And on your next exhale, release the hand movement. Release control of your breath and come back into the room, maybe blinking your eyes open. Take a moment to take an easy, gentle breath and notice what your experience was. It's a pretty simple idea, simple to do, but very hard to stay present. Someone says that they feel a little bit dizzy. Yeah, that can happen when we change our breath. So sometimes allowing a very gentle, natural breath instead of trying to take the fullest inhale and the fullest exhale can make it a little bit better. Or not thinking about the breath at all and just moving your hands and let the breath go completely. So we tend to, with something like this, we go onto autopilot because it's simple. But the instruction is to just notice when you've floated away and come back. Notice and come back. So how do we create, oh good, someone says they feel calm. That's great. So how do we create a meditation practice? I'll tell you my practice. I wake up, I come up here to my office, my yoga room, I do some yoga, some stretching. Sometimes I do a full practice. Sometimes I just, I'm achy and I just move around. Then I sit and focus on my breathing for a period of time, whatever period I choose. Maybe it's 10 minutes, I sometimes meditate for 20. And that works for me. And then when I'm done, I write down any thoughts that have popped into my head. I have a journal that I keep. And then I move on. But the most important piece of creating a practice, if that's what you want to do, is to remember it's practice. And it's the repetition, just like it's the returning again and again to the notice of the breath. It's the repetition of the action. Like anything else, trying to create a habit, you have to keep doing it again and again maybe at the same time of day, maybe in the same space. Maybe you say the same words to yourself. Maybe you have something that you hold in your hand. I have a little rock here that's very comforting to have in the palm of my hand. And in that Pavlovian way, repeating the practice gets you to drop into your meditation a little bit quicker each time. So how do you get that to happen, right? It's not easy. We can work with a teacher. That can be really helpful. I teach yoga for cancer on Tuesdays at noon and always include some meditation in that. And I teach a meditation class on Fridays at noon, all for cancer support community. And I also work privately with people who would like to do that. You can find a meditation group to join. During lockdown, I started co-leading a 15-minute daily meditation Zoom from my synagogue. You can find lots of online resources, podcasts, apps, and books. I use apps myself. Shoreline, Listen to Nature, is an app that was developed by my meditation teacher. And it has beautiful soundscapes that were recorded live in these exotic places and recorded meditations. So you can sit down with the app and just listen to the ocean or the wind or a thunderstorm, or you can just listen to her lead you through a meditation like I've done here, or you can put the two together and have this soundscape in the background and the meditation. I love it. I also use the Calm app. It's a very popular one. And they do a daily meditation, the daily Calm. It's about 10 minutes. And you sit and listen to what they have to offer. There are others, Insight Timer, 10% Happier. They're all really helpful. And sometimes it's just figuring out what's going to work for you. Some people meditate right before they go to bed. Some people meditate as soon as they wake up or in late afternoon, right before they eat or after. Choosing a time, making a commitment, and sticking with it for a period of time. Other ways that I get into my meditation is I might choose to read a passage from a book. I have this wonderful book. Whoops, you can't see it because of my background. Let's see. Nope, not working. It's called The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. I think that's how he pronounces it. And he's also a cancer survivor. And a book called Meditations from the Mat by Rolf Gates. Anything by Pema Chodron, who was a Buddhist nun. And then I read the passage, get quiet, and see what comes up. I also like podcasts. A lot of us do. I listen to The Mindful Minute, which is a meditation podcast. I listen to the 10% Happier podcast, which was created by a journalist, a broadcast journalist, who had a panic attack while he was on the air and decided he better figure out what to do about it. And he calls himself a skeptic and for people who are a little bit, not that convinced that meditation is really a good thing, but think they might need to know a little more about it, he's perfect because he talks about it the way average people talk about it. And he says, I thought this was totally woo-woo, or I thought this was going to be stupid, but here's why it works for me, and here's how I go about it. He also interviews really interesting people.
What was the name of that book again? Or that
it's a book and a podcast and an app, and it's called 10% Happier. And I highly, highly recommend that. Someone is asking to write down all of these things. Anyone who would like to receive a list of these items and some links, if you will either put your email in the chat, you can do it privately to me if you like, or send an email to Emily, and I'll be sure to send all of the information that I'm sharing today. There are teachers like Tara Brock, who has, she teaches workshops. She has a weekly meditation sit that's free. There's the teacher Sharon Salzberg, who has a podcast called Meta Hour. And again, the most important thing is consistency, creating a practice, whatever that might look like for you, making a commitment to 10 minutes a day of intentional mindfulness. That might be a seated meditation practice like we're talking about here. Or it might be something like a daily awe walk. What's that, you may ask? It's taking a walk without music or a podcast, or even necessarily conversation with a friend, where you walk very mindfully, you feel your feet on the ground, and you take in what you're seeing, allowing yourself to get drawn in by a flower or a rock or a tree or whatever draws your attention. Finding something that gives you a sense of wonder. Maybe it's the big blue sky or the buds on trees or tall buildings, whatever you see in your space, something that gives you a sense of being, of something that is greater than yourself. And it's the intentionality of any of these practices that sets this time apart as a mindfulness practice. So is there something that you can commit to doing? Maybe it's getting up in the morning and sitting in the same place for 10 minutes, maybe listening to one of these podcasts. Maybe it's taking an afternoon walk at around the same time most days and making it a mindful experience. So I'm getting some emails coming in the chat. Thank you for that. And I'd like to open us up to questions in just take a picture of that. Good. There we go. Thank you. Okay. I'd like to open us up. Let's go ahead and open up to questions now, and then we'll do a final practice before we end. So does anyone have any questions? I see someone is asking for a yoga DVD for beginners. There are so many. It's a little bit hard to, I know that's why you're asking, because it's hard to discern. All of the classes that I teach for Cancer Support Community are on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel for those classes, and they're available, and you can also access them through the Cancer Support Community website. And I'd be happy to pull together a list of others that people have recommended that I can send if you like. Anybody else? Does anybody have any questions or comments or thoughts about what we've been talking about? Something that resonates or something that rubs? Feel free to unmute or write something in the chat.
You talked about, being intentional, but I guess my question is how to make it stick. It's kind of like you can do something maybe for a week, maybe, but how do you keep it going longer? I mean, do you have any tips on how to make it really a habit?
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's a big question, the how, right? How to do it. It really is like any other habit. It's picking something that's doable. If sitting down for a 20-minute breath meditation is not really feeling doable to you, then choose something simpler, like taking a walk, and make a commitment to yourself. And how do you do that? Sit down and write about it. Talk to a friend about it. Find a way of making the statement, making the proclamation, and keeping that commitment to yourself. Make it something doable, though. Don't put something on you that is just going to be another burden, right? No, nobody needs that. We don't need that right now. We need things that lift us up, things that make us feel good. So choose something you love. I have a friend who does this. She puts on her favorite song or album or record and dances around one song, one fabulous song that always makes her feel great. And she just dances around when no one's around. It's choosing. There's a vast world here of things that you can choose. So just choose one, just one. That when you wash the dishes tonight, you'll do it with intentionality. You'll say before you walk up to the sink, oh, right, I'm going to be intentional about this today. I'm going to notice the sensations. I'm going to notice what I see, what I hear, what I smell, right? I didn't take us into the smell of the soap and all of those things. So finding something. Anybody else have any thoughts about this? I know it's very hard. This is not easy. I'm not suggesting that this is an easy thing to do, but it's something that is available to you and can make a big difference if you can stick to it. They say it takes 40 days to make a habit. So can you pick something so simple like mindfully washing your dishes or even brushing your teeth, right? Most of us do that. Pick something you will do anyway and do it with intention. Get a calendar, check it off. Find a way of being accountable to yourself. Do it with a friend. Do it with me or another teacher. Find a way of being accountable.
What if you're doing the meditation and you kind of doze off? You can't sit to stay present.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. Be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself for that and try again. Maybe try a meditation where you're sitting up instead of lying down. Try something that's more active rather than passive, like taking a walk or doing something like that's a physical thing. And set a timer so that you have an end point, right? It's good to have an end point to whatever you're choosing to do.
Thank you.
I'm looking in the chat. Someone's saying that they can be mindful at times, but sometimes at work it gets crazy. Any suggestions on how not to get sucked into the crazy? That's the whole reason that we're doing this, right? You have to practice when you're not in the crazy so that when you're in the crazy, you can have that pause, right? So it's that moment of discernment where you choose how to respond rather than just reacting. And mindfulness, meditation, breath, yoga helps us to find that moment of pause so that we can choose what our reaction is going to be. But you have to practice. So it's the taking your, you may have heard the expression, taking your yoga off the mat. Maybe you haven't heard that, but we practice formally so that we can manage when we're in those trying situations with our families or with our own treatment or with work, whatever your stress may be of the day. But it's the practicing that creates the space so that when you're in those moments, you start to have just a little bit more space to take a breath and choose your reaction. Anybody else? Any other thoughts? I really appreciate this conversation. This is not simple stuff. Managing our lives is not simple stuff. These are just some tools that you can introduce to create a little more awareness, a little more intentionality. I'm saying these words over and over again. I think you get what I'm getting at. The idea of choosing to noticing what you're doing, where you are, the choices that you're making.
Yeah, lots of ways to meditate. I've always done sitting meditation, but using the breath as the object. But I could see from this that can be expanded to be anything from a rock to a tree to whatever. So it's good.
Great. And yes, and just choose what the anchor is, right? It's easy. Don't sway back and forth.
Know your object. Yep.
Yeah.
What you're coming back to when your mind wanders.
Exactly. Yeah. Doing, a lot of people like to meditate with their eyes open. That's a very particular tradition. And you can be gazing at a candle flame. Some people like that because it's moving, or at a fire. You can be gazing at a picture, something that's calming and relaxing to you. It's like creating a focal point, a drishti, like we do in yoga class. And for some people, that feels a lot better than sitting and closing your eyes. And maybe that is something that can help you stay awake too. Maybe it's meditating with your eyes open. That is called shamatha meditation. And there are lots of ways of doing that as well. Of course, a walk, right? That's an open-eyed meditation. Anybody else that would like to share? I love this feedback, this back and forth. So bring it on. Anything else? Any questions? Any thoughts?
Rebecca.
Oops.
Christine and then Susie.
Thanks. Rebecca, I find that the classes that you're teaching us, the yoga classes, the meditations that you do is a great way for me to get started. It's to remember how to do this. It's a good reminder. Anyway, thanks.
Thank you, Christine. I really appreciate that. And the yoga classes are available online. Someone has just put in the chat how to connect to the CSC YouTube channel, and that's really helpful. And there are other classes. There are many classes that are offered by cancer support community, and in the big wide world, there are a lot. So it's hard to again be discerning and find something that works for you. Susie, what did you want to say?
I have trouble keeping my mind focused. I find that when I sit like this, I just start, scattering all over the place.
So what are you using for your focal point, your anchor? Do you understand the idea of having something that you're paying attention to? Sometimes it's the breath, but it can be a sound or a sensation or something that you're looking at. So all of our minds wander, some more than others, right? Some of us are more, creative thinkers, so that our minds are going. It's noticing, oh, wait, hang on, I'm thinking again. I'm going down some sort of a rabbit hole, come back. And you do that again and again and again. Come back. Notice, come back. Don't worry that your mind is wandering, because it's going to do that. Just notice, come back. And even if you only come back for a moment, come back again. And the next time, maybe it'll be for 2 moments or 3 moments. Keep coming back.
I think it would help me to have an anchor, something to hold on to that helps remind me what I'm doing.
Right.
So that my mind isn't going everywhere.
You can use counting. You can use counting.
Yes. And I was going to say that, looking around to see if my mala beads are here somewhere. Here we go. So there's a kind of meditation called japa mala, where you use a set of, these are called mala beads, and there are 108 of them. And like a rosary, some people might have a rosary, or there might be other traditions that have this. You might take a breath and then count it, and take another breath and count it, or hear a sound and count it. And the action of slowly making your way through the beads or whatever you're choosing, and you can just do it with, bringing your fingertips together, and counting. And that can be a focus. That can be an active focus. And then you'll suddenly notice, oh, wow, I've stopped completely. Go back, start again. Go back to 1, start again. All right. Anyone have anything else that they'd like to say? I focus on the tip of my nose while breathing. That's wonderful. That might also help with the dizziness. Keep it a little more external, feeling just where you feel the breath at the tip of your nose or somewhere else. Someone here is asking about home responsibilities. Yeah, that is definitely a thing. What are the solutions? We all have different responsibilities at home. Maybe you can go to bed a little earlier so you can get up a little earlier. Or maybe there's that time when everyone leaves, or when you leave. Maybe you drive to work and get there 5 minutes before you have to walk in the door, and safely in your car, not driving, meditate, take 5 minutes. You be creative. We can do this. We can come up with these ways of being mindful. Find something you're already doing and bring mindfulness to it. That can be the easiest way to start. Let's see. Someone is saying that DeKalb Senior Center has classes on yoga and meditation. They have a chair yoga class there. Fantastic. Okay. All right. Anybody else? And then I'll take us into another meditation. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing, for being interactive. I know this is not easy, and it is finding something to try and trying, giving it a good long try, making the commitment to come back to the same place maybe, or the same time, so that you begin to create a habit. My meditation teacher starts every meditation with the repetition of this phrase: Now is my time to meditate. Now is my time to meditate. Now is my time to meditate. And that's one of the anchors that she teaches that helps you to set sort of a boundary between now and then, between regular time and space and meditation time and space. So there are all kinds of little tricks that you can use, but you have to pick something simple and try it. And then try it again, try it again, try it again. And then maybe you'll find it's not the right time or it's not the right approach. So chalk that up to experience and pick something else. And I'm so happy to be a resource. If anyone wants to be in touch with me, I'm more than happy to answer questions, to help you strategize. Please take advantage. I'm going to put my email into the chat. And it's Rebecca at RebeccaLeary.com. That's my website, and that is my email. So reach out, ask a question. I love this work. I love this practice. I see profound benefits for myself, for my students, for my family. So I want to facilitate as best I can to help you find your way into a practice that works for you. And on that note, let us practice once again. So take a moment to find your seat, allowing your feet to be firmly on the ground, sitting up tall with an active spine, strong and enlivened, reaching the crown of the head towards the sky, feeling the tailbone grounding towards the earth. Begin to notice the sensation of your breath. Where do you feel it? Maybe it's at the tip of your nose or the back of your throat, or maybe it's in your chest or belly. See if you can keep your attention on one spot through an inhale and an exhale. I'd like to lead us into another kind of meditation called mantra meditation, where you repeat a sound, a word, or a phrase to yourself. And I'm going to suggest this phrase: today I am perfect. Now that may not resonate for you, but maybe it will. And if you'd like to choose something different, that's fine. As you inhale, think to yourself, today I am perfect. As you exhale, think to yourself, today I am perfect. Maybe you inhale, today, and exhale, I am perfect. Repeat this phrase as you inhale and exhale. Today, I am perfect. As your mind wanders, just notice. Come back to the phrase. Today, I am perfect. Today, I am perfect. Let's take 10 more breaths. repeating the phrase. Stay with it. Gentle breath. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing small movements into your fingers and toes. When you feel ready, bring your palms together in front of you and begin to rub. Rub a little faster, creating some friction and some heat. And when you're ready, bring your hands up to cup your eyes, feeling the heat as it dissipates. Slowly blink your eyes open and release your hands down. I'd like to read a poem that I sometimes use at the end of my class. It's its own meditation. Breathe in spaciousness and acceptance of what is. Breathe out resistance. Breathe in possibility and optimism. Breathe out fear and doubt. Breathe in ease. Breathe out the need to change the way this moment is unfolding. Breathe in the certainty that what we really are is so much bigger than any pain or suffering. Breathe out limitation and conditioning. Breathe in divinity and openness. Breathe out a prayer of thanks that even in the midst of difficulty, there can be awareness. Thank you so much for participating, for being so present, for sharing your thoughts and your practices. I really, really appreciate this. And if you would like to be on an ongoing mailing list just to know about the events that are happening, or if you're just interested in information that I shared today, please feel free. Yes, Elaine, I can add that poem as something I can send out. Please put your email into the chat or email me at rebecca@rebeccaleary.com or email Emily Brown at Cancer Support Community, and she will get that information to me. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope to see some of your faces at yoga, at meditation. There's meditation on Friday at noon. And going forward, please reach out. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Rebecca. And thank you everyone who participated today and asked questions and gave feedback. We really appreciate that. And again, like Rebecca said, please join us for any of our classes, the yoga on Tuesdays or meditation on Fridays. And thank you again for joining us today. Everybody take care.
Be well.
Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. If you're interested in other live or recorded programs, please visit the online program tab of our website, cscatlanta.org, or follow us on Facebook. We'll be sharing additional information on upcoming programs.